All right, all right, all right. Here we are live from Las Vegas. Coming at you, Charlie. Coming at you at, get the fuck out of here. All right, coming at you at, what's today? Like July something. July something 2026. It's warming up. Charlie's in my face, and we're going to talk about Las Vegas. It's June. What'd I say? July, June, July. It don't fucking matter. This is Vegas, and it's 300 and fucking 10,000 degrees out here. Come on, I don't want to play right now. Please, please, thank you. Just because I'm talking, dog thinks he can get all worked up now. Come on, trying to do a live show here. All right, well, anyway, this is Joe Roscoe coming at you live from Las Vegas. And where we're going to talk about conspiracies, the government, what's happening in the world, and what you can do about it. And maybe I'll talk about some of my own personal, private bullshit just to keep it, to content, titillating, scintillating, exhilarating, and the like. All right? So buckle up. Grab some popcorn, and let me tell you about the Las Vegas shooting. All right, let's start off with that because that is the subject that I am probably the world's leading expert in, is the Las Vegas shooting. For the uninitiated who don't know, the Las Vegas shooting occurred on October 1st, 2017, at the Route 91 concert, across the strip, across Las Vegas Boulevard from the Mandalay Bay Hotel Casino, where there was a 3-day outdoor country music concert going on, when on the last night, a Sunday night, at about 10:05 p.m., the sound of machine gun fire could be heard ringing out on the Las Vegas Strip. The crowd gathered for the country music show. They fled, they split, they jammed as soon as they heard the sound of machine gun fire. And the rest is history, okay? As they say, except it's not. Because immediately the sheriff, Joe Lombardo, came on TV and said, everything's fine. We got it under control. Don't worry about nothing. It's all good. 58 dead, 500 wounded, but don't worry about it. It's all under control. Well, that sounded like bullshit to me. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. When I heard the sheriff come on TV and give his spiel, I thought to myself, well, that's a load of bullshit. What really happened here? And so I began to dig. Because how is it possible somebody could shoot up a concert on the Strip and we don't get 100 different videos from the hotels surrounding the property? Why don't we see any of that? First off. Second, it obviously wasn't perpetrated by one man because, well, two windows were broken out, okay? One man does not break out two windows and run back and forth between them, picking up and dropping his rifles like some sort of lunatic Rambo while he rains hot lead on the concert below. No. One man would just bust out one window. I mean, if this is going to be the narrative. So the fact there were two windows busted out, well, sounded like bullshit to me, Sheriff. So I started to dig. And the more I dug, the fishier this case became. Nothing made sense. The more you dig, the more bullshit you uncover. What kind of bullshit, you may be wondering? Well, let me tell you what kind of bullshit right off the bat. Let's talk about police body cam footage. Can there be any stronger evidence in a court of law than police body cam footage, than video provided by the cops of a crime scene in a court of law? Is there stronger evidence than police video in a court of law? I can't think of any off the top of my head. So I looked at the police body cam footage. That would be the gold standard in the evidence category, right? Yeah. Okay. So what I saw on police body cam footage was a whole lot of nothing. And I do mean nothing. The cops released the body cam footage. Now, they did it in the most half-assed bullshit way possible, but they did release it. So it's on YouTube for the public to see right now. But you wouldn't know what you're looking at because it's not labeled and it's all chopped up and it's haphazardly thrown up there. And this was done on purpose because they don't want people looking at it. Because if you did look at it, if you took the time like I did, I don't blame anyone who doesn't take the time. If I had kids running around here and I had a full-time job and I had all kinds of other bullshit going on in my life, I would never have had time to look at the police body cam footage. But as it happens in the 2017, 18, 2019 era, I had a little extra time on my hands. I looked at the police body cam footage, all of it. I mean, all of it that they released. I shouldn't say all of it. I should say I saw all that they released because there's a lot they didn't release, but I saw enough. I saw more than enough. Let me ask you something. Have you ever seen one of these mass shootings they talk about on the news, on TV, and thought to yourself, gee, I wish there was like 12 guys with GoPros on running around the scene of that horrific crime scene of a mass shooting? Oh man, that would be awesome if there was like 10, 12, 15 guys with video cameras strapped to them who ran all over the crime scene immediately after the gunfire stopped. Have you ever thought that to yourself? Well, if you have, you're a sick fuck. But if you are interested in that sort of thing, I suggest you go and search up channels like Las Vegas Shooting Archive, where police body cam footage for October 1 is online right now and available for anyone to see. Because what you'll see if you do take the time, like I did, is you'll see through the eyes of the first officers on the scene of the crime. And I put crime in quotation marks, and I'll come back to that later. But you're going to see the scene through the eyes of the cops on the body cam footage. And what you'll see is no one got shot. At least there's no one inside the venue who was shot, and that would be the most likely place to find a gunshot victim, wouldn't you say? Since that's where allegedly the shooter opened fire and the media reported, and the police report shows at least 24 people never made it out of the venue. Out of 58 dead, about half never made it out of the venue, they'd said. So that should be a minimum of what, 24, 26 people laying on the ground dead? A minimum. Not to mention the 500 wounded. I mean, half of them should be laying on the ground too, right? Bleeding out of various limbs, torso, whatever. And not to mention anyone who stayed behind to try to help the injured, wounded, or dead. So let's think about that for a second. Let's say half the people died. A half of 58 is what? What's that? 20, 26, 24, 28? Something like that. Okay? About 20 some odd people should be dead. 500 were wounded, they told us. Let's say half of them were immobile. I think that's fair. If you get shot by a machine gun, there's at least a 50-50 chance you're going to be immobile. So out of 500 wounded, let's say, I don't know, let's be conservative, 200 were immobile. So now we're up to about 250 people stranded inside the venue, either wounded or dead, and the people who stayed behind to render first aid and try to help their friends or family who had been shot by machine gun fire. So I don't know, let's say 250 wounded and dead. I mean, what if one person stayed behind for each of them? Talk about 500 people now, right? 500 people inside the venue, either dead, wounded, or attending to dead or wounded. That's a reasonable assumption, I think, to make. That's what we should see on police body cam footage of the first cops to go inside the venue of the worst mass shooting in U.S. history immediately following the sound of gunfire. At least a few hundred dead, dying, screaming, bleeding on the ground. Well, what you're going to find if you do look at the footage, and I challenge anybody to look at it. As a matter of fact, you can look at it on this very channel. You can watch 4 body cams at a time, just so you can be sure that you didn't miss anything. 4 body cams at a time you can watch, and I compress an hour into about 20 minutes of actual video footage. And you can be sure that there are no wounded, no dead, and nobody's inside rendering first aid to them inside the venue. Now that's got to flip your lid if you think about it. That has got to flip your lid. The scene of the worst mass shooting in U.S. history. Imagine for 1 second you're a cop. You're on patrol, you're driving your black and white squad car around town, and boo, you get a call on the radio. All units, Mandalay Bay, there's been a shooting at the Route 91 car. Boo, boo, boo. You flip on the sirens, you make a U-turn, you start hauling ass towards the Mandalay Bay, down on the strip. You pull up your car next to the Route 91 concert, you hop out, and you start booking inside the concert grounds. People are flooding out of the place, everyone's coming out. You're going in, you run through the gates, you take cover, you're up against the wall, you look around the corner, you're expecting to see, what the fuck did I just say, 25 dead people, 100 wounded people, and at least a couple of friends or family members who stayed behind to help them. But what you see when you look around that corner for the first time is an empty field, a completely empty field. Not 1 or 2 people laying on the ground, not some people limping out. You see nothing. And it's quiet inside. The only sound is cops yelling, get out, hurry, go south, go, 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 go. Besides that, it's quiet. Not the screams of anguish or the dying sounds of people on their death throes. No, it's quiet. The cops' radios are echoing inside the place because it's so quiet. You can hear the echo. That's what you're going to find if you pull up the body cam footage right now on YouTube, on channels like Las Vegas Shooting Archive and various other channels with similar names. Go ahead, look it up. It may be hard to find because, well, like I said earlier, they don't label them properly. But I do believe LVSA has a playlist on his channel, and one of those playlists, I think, is called Body Cam Footage Outside. So apparently it looks like he's broken it up into body cam footage inside the hotel and the room and body cam footage outside. Personally, I don't care about all the outside. I'm only interested in the body cam footage inside the venue. Because after all, that is where they said everyone got shot and died. If we're not going to find dead people in front of the stage at the concert, then where else could we possibly find them? That's one question I have. That's just one question. Oh, this motherfucker. Well, I don't even know what the question. That's one question. One question to ask. I guess the question I have is, why are there no dead people inside the venue immediately following the shooting? That's a good question. All right, let's put that one on the. Let's write that one down. Why are there no dead people inside the concert grounds following the shooting, according to at least a dozen police body cam footages, which are the gold standard of evidence? I mean, I guess I could close the case right there, but I digest. Let's move on. Let's ask some more questions. There happens to be drone footage of the scene, of the site, of the venue, early in the morning of October 2nd. Starting, it looks like the drone footage just starts about maybe 30 minutes before sunrise. Okay? Still a little dark out, but you can kind of see because it's a nice camera on this drone. But this drone goes up. Oh, who we got talking to me here? Oh, somebody. All right. Anyway, this drone goes up over the Mandalay Bay, and it does a few laps around over the scene of the crime, okay, over the venue, over the stage, the field. Now, as he does about 6, 7, 8 laps over the course of about 45 minutes or an hour, this drone footage, I assume it's a drone. I guess it could be a helicopter, but I'm assuming a drone. As he's circling the venue, you see people laying on the ground inside the concert. You see them all laying on the ground, about 20, 24 people laying on their backs, all of them spread eagle laying on their backs. You see all those people laying on the ground. You do see that for about 45 minutes to an hour as this drone does a few laps. Now, you may say to yourself, if you see that footage, well, that's confirmation right there, isn't it, Joe? The drone's doing laps and it sees dead people laying on the ground inside the concert. Maybe. But you know what? If you back up that video to the very, very beginning, when the drone first goes up and it's still a little bit dark outside, just a little bit before sunrise, still a little bit dark outside. When it first goes up and he comes over the top of the Mandalay Bay and he zooms in on the venue for just a couple seconds, you see, well, you know what? I might be able to show you what you see. Let me pull up this because it's quite shocking. You expect to see a bunch of dead people laying on the ground, of course. But let me show you what you actually see. If I can find it here on my tablets. Because, Vegas, the thing about the Vegas shooting, it's not about what you see. It's about what you don't see. Yeah, I think this is going to work right there. Let me see if maybe you guys can see this, maybe not. I don't know. Back up here. Stop, pause. Okay. Let me see if we can see this here. Can you guys, you probably can't see that too well, can you? Well, anyway, this is a aerial shot of the venue. Okay, so here we are. That's Mandalay Bay. Let me back it up here just a little bit. Okay, so watch. Here he comes right over the Mandalay Bay. And he's going to zoom up on that venue because he's expecting to see dead bodies right there. That's what he expects to see. But what he sees is no dead bodies. Look at that. He zooms up real quick. The sun hasn't come out yet. It's right after the shooting. And so he doesn't see any dead bodies. So what's he do? He's like, oh shit, there's no dead bodies there. I better start zooming up and filming up and down the strip at some stupid bullshit. Okay. I'm going to show that to you one more time. What you would expect is for this drone to go up, look over the Mandalay Bay, see a bunch of bodies on the ground, and then stay focused right on there. That would be the most interesting thing you could possibly see. So that's where he would aim his camera, right inside the venue. What happens is he goes straight up, looks over the Mandalay Bay into the venue, and he sees no dead bodies inside the venue. Now that, personally, I find more interesting than actual dead bodies, but that's neither here nor there. The fact is, he comes up, zooms in, and sees no dead bodies. And so what does he do? He begins to film some bullshit outside the venue, looking up and down the strip like, what are you looking for, buddy? What are you looking for? Look back inside that venue. Okay? You follow? You dig? Here we go. All right. All right. Oh, okay. Here we go. It's about to go up over the Mandalay Bay here. The sun has not come out yet. And he looks right over there. Check it out. No dead bodies. Look at that. Where's the dead? There's nobody dead inside that venue. How can that be? How can that be? Well, maybe they're somewhere else, Joe. Well, where the hell else could they be? Oh, look. Now he's filming up and down the strip, see? Where the hell else could they be? All right, so there's no dead bodies inside the venue on body cam footage. There's no dead bodies inside the venue on drone footage. But I used to have a sergeant major that would say, once is a fluke, twice is a coincidence, but 3 times is a pattern. So, body cam footage, maybe that's a fluke. I don't know. There's 12 body cams, but let's lump it all in one and say 12 body cams, and that's a fluke. Well, how about body cam footage and drone footage? Well, that's twice. That's a coincidence. But now, what if we add CCTV to the mix? If I can find it on my tablet, which it doesn't look like I'm gonna. Doesn't look like I'm gonna find it on my tablet. Son of a gun. You know what? That's what I get. I put a bunch of my videos on this, what is it called? The Google Drive? Fuck Google Drive. I put a shit ton of videos on Google Drive thinking I'd free up some space on my device here. And now my videos cannot be read on Google device. They're corrupted or some shit. About 2/3 of the stuff I put on Google Drive is toast. I'm very butthurt about that. Very fucking butthurt. I lost a lot of work to Google Drive just because they couldn't upload it properly. Sons of bitches. But you know what? I think I know where I can find some CTV footage, and booyah. Here it is right here. If anyone wants to follow along, it's a channel called WegOg. Weg with a G, Og with a G. Okay? WEGOAG, and WegOg has the security cam footage from the Mandalay Bay rooftop, which was aimed at the concert. Oh, I gotta verify my fucking age for this. You know what? I'm not gonna get into it right now. I'm not gonna verify my fucking age to YouTube so I can look at some CCTV. God damn it. And they're not gonna show it to me. Well, if you're verified with your age with YouTube, you can get on WegOg's channel and watch the 1.5-hour version of the mass shooting. I'm reading you the title right now. The 1.5-hour version of Las Vegas mass shooting CCTV video from the Mandalay Bay hotel rooftop. He just wants me to verify my age. Like I'm gonna bust out my ID and send them a fucking photo of it so I can watch videos on YouTube. Get the fuck out of here. But you know what? I mean, since I'm here at it at Wego, I mean, anybody wants to look for it, just look for there we go. Come on in there, Wegog. See that channel? There we go. There we go. Look for him. Okay, go to his channel. And then pull up this video right here. Mandalay Bay Rooftop CCTV. Look, it's going to ask me my age. Yeah, see, fuck. Oh, well, I'm not going to bother. How about, well, maybe what if I go to LVS? I don't know. Shit. Oh, well, LVSA. How about Las Vegas shooting archive? Now, notice what I'm doing here. I'm not doing anything that anybody else couldn't do. You could go to any of these channels. Let's see. I think we got some. Here we go. How about this? This one might be good. Is he going to ask my ID? Ah, fuck. Asking my ID. Fuck. You know what? They're asking my ID on that channel too, so fuck it. Let me see if I can find it on my tablet, actually. Anyway, it doesn't matter anyway, because even if I showed the security footage right now, what you would see is nobody getting shot. That's the problem with it. That's the problem. Trying to show people video of nobody getting shot. Nobody wants to watch that shit. You're going to watch 45 minutes of security camera footage just to not see people get shot? Nobody wants to do that. All these videos are age restricted. I would have it to show you on tap, except for Google Drive destroyed my copy here. So I gotta figure something. Oh, wait, what's this? Let me see this. No, this is, well, here's a glimpse. Yeah, that's not gonna work. Maybe. That ain't gonna be good enough. Yeah, I'm keep looking. I'm looking for a video to show you guys, but you know, you can imagine it. Okay. Oh wait, what's this? What's this? Let me see. No. All right. How long have I been prattling on about Vegas for? Almost 30 minutes. I think that's going to be good enough for the first show, right? About 30 minutes on Vegas. And then maybe I'll do 30 minutes of some sort of personal news interest story, because I know people get tired of hearing about Vegas over and over and over and over. I sound like a broken record. I feel like a broken record. But, you know, story still hasn't busted coast to coast yet. Yeah, I don't have my CCTV footage. I'm sure I could find it somewhere on another disc, but, you know. Or how about, here's what I mean. This is not CCTV, but it's mildly interesting. Watch these people. These people are inside the venue here, okay? Well, now back it up. And they're just hanging out, talking on the phone, and they hear the sound. Kind of sounds like gunfire, but not really. So we'll just talk on the phone here. See nobody injured, nobody wounded. Look, this guy's talking on the phone. She's talking to the other one. Nobody's wounded. Nobody's injured. Nobody's even panicked. I mean, I guess a couple people are running out there panicked, but look at the place. That's ground zero. Shay Watson. How you doing, Shay Watson? Shay Watson's here. I was wondering if you'd make it. You know, I'm just going over the shooting again, Shay. You know how I am, just a broken record. But I had a couple shots of Jack, and you know, I thought, what the heck? Let's go over it again one more time, right? Shay says I only got 5. You only got 5 what? 5 minutes? 5 hours? $5? 5 dogs? Shay knows. Shay knows. Shay's been she's not only been a subscriber of mine, but a good friend as well, more than a friend. But Shay knows. Shay knows the truth. Shay actually knows probably more than I do. Not about Vegas, but about the world. How long you been here, Shay? You just got here? All right. Well, anyways, I've done a half an hour now. I've done 30 minutes on Vegas. Think about doing 30 minutes on some personal stuff. But now Shay popped up. Now I don't want to talk about the personal stuff. Now I'm shy. Let me stop it right there. Stop that video. Okay. But now I don't know what the hell to talk about, huh, Charlie? Oh, you know what? I think it was Dr. Red Dirt Redneck asked me to tell this story again. That's what I'll do. I'll tell that story. If Dr. Redneck is out there, I'll tell you the story. Did you ever hear this story, Shay, when I was a kid and there was gunfire in my neighborhood? All right, well, I'm going to tell the story. So when I was a kid, I lived on a cul-de-sac, okay? And this was a real Mayberry, USA kind of fucking neighborhood, right? Like all the kids played Little League and they swam in each other's pools. And, you know, we all grew up on the same street, went to the same park, and, you know, we all grew up together. And then one day, I was about maybe, I don't know, what was I about? Maybe 13, 12. Yeah, maybe, yeah, I was younger than that. Maybe 11 or 12, something like that. The house 2 doors down from me went up for sale. One of the families in the neighborhood were moving. You know, I played football with their boys. I played basketball. But you know, it's time for them to move on. So their house was up for sale. My old man bought it as a rental place, you know, as an investment. So he bought the house 2 doors down. He's going to rent it out to someone. Fine. So he's interviewing, you know, possible tenants and whatnot. And he finds someone, and he finds a single mom with 2 boys to rent the place to. As it happened, they were black. And they moved in the neighborhood. And this created a little bit of a stir, you know, in the cul-de-sac in Mayberry, USA, back in the 80s, I guess. Yeah, 80s. Okay. A couple of the neighbors were grumbling about it. But basically, my old man told him, don't fucking worry about it. It's my property. They're good people. I interviewed her. Don't worry about it. And that seemed to settle it for a while. And I became friends with the 2 boys. Let's call them Gary and Lewis. Okay. Me and Gary used to shoot hoops in the front yard on my basketball hoop. And Gary used to eat the food out of my parents' fridge, man. He ate them out of house and home. And I know my old man used to buy extra food to put in the fridge just because Gary was a growing boy. And he was a growing boy. Let me tell you what. I'll tell you what. That boy grew up. He got big. But I was good. Gary was like a year younger than me. Lewis was like a year older than me. So I hung out with both of them, you know. Anyways, they're in the neighborhood about a month or so, as I recall. You know, my old man already had it out with the neighbors, told them, you know, don't fucking worry about it. Month goes by. It's like fucking Sunday night or something, man. It's like 3 a.m. Boom! boom, 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 boom. Fucking gunshots ringing out in the cul-de-sac in Mayberry, USA, right? Whoa, woke me up. I was a kid, woke me up. I'd hop out of bed. I'd run out of my room. My old man, he's grabbing his gun and putting on his slippers and robe, and he's hauling ass down the stairs, and he fucking flies out the front door, and he's got me right on his ass, in my pajamas. All the neighbors coming out of the house, they're all filling out into the streets. Everybody wants to know where the gun, I think everybody kind of assumed where the gunfire was coming from, and well, they wouldn't be wrong. It was coming from Gary and Lewis's house. So my old man runs over there with his gun, and I was a kid, so I wasn't involved in all the high level, talks and whatnot. But the cops showed up shortly after. My old man runs in the house with his gun. Shortly after that, the cops show up. They're piling out, and there's a commotion inside the neighborhood. Everybody's outside now. It's fucking 2 a.m. Neighbors are grumbling, blah, 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 blah. And I mean, they were upset. Let's just say that. Okay. Everybody's upset, standing in the middle of the street. And I'm standing in the middle of the street with my mom. My old man's inside the house with the cops. So after a little bit of this goes on, the cops pack it up and leave. They fucking just like 3 cop cars full of cops. They all got back in their vehicles and took a few statements, I guess, whatever, I don't know. And they fucking split. And let me tell you, when they split, in my mind, as I recall, that's when the fucking pitchforks and the torches came out. Okay? Everything got grainy and black and white and fucking real ugly. Felt like, in my mind, as I recall. And these fucking people were standing in front of, they were standing in the yard on the front porch, everyone in the neighborhood. And they wanted Gary and Lewis and his mom out of the neighborhood, as best as I can tell. I'm telling you, it was pretty clear. They wanted them out of the neighborhood. So they're all bitching. They're all yelling. They're all kind of, flexing their nuts now that the cops have left. They're all feeling a little rambunctious in the neighborhood, let's say. Right? And it's basically just my old man standing in the doorway, holding all these people out of the house. Well, me standing next to him, I guess I was, me too. Me and my old man were keeping everyone out at bay, you know what I'm saying? And these people are going on and blah, 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 blah. And my old man standing there, and he let him go on. He let him go on. And they bitched, and they wanted him out and all this. Finally, my old man said, "That's enough. Nobody's going anywhere except for all you motherfuckers back in your houses." And you know what? They did. A little more bitching, a little more grumbling. But eventually, they all shuffled off back in their slippers and their robes, back into their houses as the sun was coming up. Now, up until then, I didn't know what the fuck happened. But I seen Lewis and Gary standing there, and they looked scared as fuck. But they were alive. I mean, thank God they were alive. But I see them, they look scared. And they look scared not just of what happened, but they look scared of all the people in the neighborhood. They looked at me, I looked at them, and I was like, I don't know, bro, I don't know. But everyone went back in their houses, and my old man took me and my mom back into our house. And it turned out what had happened was Gary and Lewis's dad, the father, decided he wanted the boys. And so he broke into the house to kidnap the boys, I guess. And Mama Bear wasn't having none of it. So she grabbed her shotgun and she fired off some buckshot and got him in the ass once or twice because there was a little bit of blood, coming over the window as he ran out of the fucking place and ran down the street and was never heard from again. And after that, me and Lewis and Gary, we was friends for years. To this day, I consider Gary a friend of mine and Lewis, if I run into either one of them. Gary, last I heard, he went and played some semi-pro ball because, like I said, he was a growing boy. My old man used to pack that fridge with burritos. And fucking Gary come over and he just pack them down like 3, 4, 5 at a time. And my old man just buy more. And Lewis, I bump into him. Well, I haven't bumped into him for a while, but I used to bump into him about every 5 years around town because he worked at restaurants and places, so he'd be our waiter at a restaurant every 5 years or so. We bump into him. But I consider them friends to this day. But, what I learned, the moral of that story, the biggest takeaway for me from that story that I learned, actually, I learned a lot of things that night, and in the weeks to follow. But the biggest thing I learned that night is that my old man would always, always do the right thing. No matter fucking what, he would always do the right thing. And I'll never forget that. All right, so I hope that satisfied Dr. Red Dirt Redneck's thirst to hear that story again. I probably didn't tell it as good as I used to, but that's because I'm not as drunk as I used to be. But that's the story. When I originally told that story, I told it just to kill time while I waited for, I was live, obviously, if Dr. Redneck heard it, then obviously I was live. But I was live that day because I was waiting for someone to come back to my house to try to frighten me off of investigating the Las Vegas shooting. And the point of that story was, Gary and Lewis and their mom wasn't going nowhere, and neither am I. Okay? That was the point. Because, to kind of bring it all back to Vegas, they sent somebody to my house. If anybody's wondering if I've faced any repercussions or had any blowback from my saying that nobody died in the Vegas shooting, the answer is yeah. Yeah, I had a guy come over here to my home while I was doing a live stream and try to intimidate and threaten me. So I went live the very next day and said, "Bring it on, motherfucker. I'm still right here at my house. I'm not going anywhere." He never showed back up. But just so you know, you're going to take a stand and you're going to speak some truth. Be prepared for some repercussions, but don't sweat it too much if you're in the right. Well, even if you're in the right, they can still fuck with you. But you got to do it anyway. Because this country's going to shit. This country is going to shit. Hell in a handbasket. And it's because, there's a lot of different reasons, but one reason is people don't want to be bothered with other people's bullshit. Decent folks don't worry about what other people are fucking doing in their own homes. And they mind their own fucking business. And I would say that's about 90% of us. But there's a certain group of people out there who got to get all up in everybody's business, and they want to They want to affect how you live your life. The thing that empowers them more than anything is the silence of everybody else. See what I'm saying? Bullies will pick on a kid relentlessly in school. And it may be tough to stand up to, they always say stand up to a bully, stand up to a bully. Well, what do you do if the bully's fucking 3 times as big as you? It's hard to stand up to him. So nobody wants to. But if you get about 3 or 4 fucking kids to stand up to him, he goes right away. So people need to, what we need in this country is a little more unity and a little less division, okay? Everything you see on TV is designed to divide the people, whether it divides black or white, man or woman, gay or straight, rich or poor, fucking, I don't know, fat or skinny, whatever the fuck it is, anything they can use to divide the people. And the more closely something divides the country into 50-50, that's their favorite. They love nothing more than divided into 50-50. Because obviously, united we stand, divided we fall. I see a lot of division in this country. The whole blue versus red thing. Anyone who says vote blue no matter who, or vote red until you're dead, or anything like that, always vote Republican, always vote Democrat, always vote left, always vote right, always vote progressive, always vote conservative. Those are the motherfuckers who have put us in the situation we're in. Because those kind of simplistic ideas are what make the public so manipulatable, easy to manipulate. If people are going to vote blue no matter who, then they're going to put in some fucking scumbag politicians. And you know what the biggest job of politicians is? To pass legislature, laws. It might be their only fucking job, Charlie, I'm not sure. But it's their biggest fucking purpose in life is to pass laws. And they're passing some fucked up laws right now. One of the laws they passed back in 2012 is called the Smith-Mundt, let me make sure I get this right. The Smith-Mundt Modernization Act. Now, Smith and Mundt is the name of 2 congressmen who co-sponsored this bill back in 2012. The Smith-Mundt Modernization Act is like HR 50, I don't want to misquote it, HR 50-something 36, House Resolution 5536. Don't worry, I'll look it up later. The Smith-Mundt Act. That's all you got to remember. Smith-Mundt Act, the propaganda law. Let me tell you what that law did. The Smith-Mundt Act changed the law. The law had stated previously that propaganda was not to be used on U.S. citizens on U.S. soil by the U.S. government. There were laws in place on the books, okay, after World War II. And let me slow down. Let me back it up here a little bit. Back it up, slow down. After World War II, there was a law that prevented the U.S. government from using propaganda on U.S. citizens. Now, we were using it on China, Russia, Europe, everyone around the world. It was the Cold War, and we're always everybody's adversaries, so we use propaganda on other countries. Right? Fine. If it prevents wars or helps us win wars or it's all in our best interest for one reason or another, we created propaganda and we distributed it around the globe to other countries. But there was a law in the books that prevented us from doing it to American citizens. In 2012, under Barack Obama, The Smith Modernization Act was passed, which lifted the restrictions of propaganda on the U.S. government. They removed the restrictions of propaganda. Why would the fuck would they do that? Why would they make it legal for them to lie to the American people? Now, nobody noticed this because it went into the back of the national defense budget, like on the last page on a little line item. So nobody paid attention. Nobody noticed. And what are you going to do? Not pass the National Defense Fund? No. So obviously it got passed undetected, quietly at the 11th hour on the back page. Nobody noticed. But if you think about it, why would anyone even think to remove the restrictions on the government lying to the people? Must be a reason. Well, immediately after that law was passed, immediately in December of 2012, before the fucking ink was dry on the bill, what happened in December 2012? Anybody remember? December of 2012, Charlie? Do you remember what happened? Alex Jones just got sued for $2 billion over it. $2 billion. They sued Alex Jones over Sandy Hook. Anybody remember Sandy Hook? Sandy Hook, that's right, Charlie. Where allegedly, I believe, how many kids got shot at Sandy Hook, they said? I don't know, about a dozen kids. Remember Adam Lanza? Supposedly shot up Sandy Hook Elementary School. What is it, in Connecticut or something? Immediately after lifting the restrictions on propaganda, we have a school shooting. Well, maybe that means nothing, right? But except for if you look into Sandy Hook, it's fishier than a wharf at low tide. It's fishier than my ex-girlfriend's crotch, okay? It's fishy, that's what I'm saying. Look into it. I don't want to get sued for $2 billion, but if you search up Robbie Sandy Hook, you'll see this guy laughing on camera, mere hours after his daughter was allegedly shot by a made-up fictitious character named Adam Lanza. Go ahead, look into it. I'll wait. But this on live stream is not going to be about Sandy Hook. The point is, that law was passed in 2012, the propaganda law, the Smith Modernization Act. And doesn't it kind of seem and feel like maybe since about 2012 is when this country started to go into shit? Right around 2012, don't you think, Charlie? I'd say that sounds about right. It's when it started going to shit for me. But, other people may have a different perspective. What's the fact, and not a matter of perspective, is if you look at the stats, if you look at crime statistics and anything on mass shootings, what you're going to see is in 2012, starting with Sandy Hook, mass shootings in this country skyrocket. They get bigger and bigger and bigger month after month, starting in 2012 and culminating up, we had Pulse and some other ones, the Aurora shooting, Columbine, all of that shit, culminating in 2017, Las Vegas, Nevada, with the biggest mass shooting in U.S. history, right here in Sin City, baby. Yeah, but we didn't catch it on camera. No, hardly any footage of it. Almost no cell phone footage. Hardly any. It's only the most videoed street on the planet. But, I'll be damned if I can find any cell phone footage that shows me dead bodies. Gee, I wonder why. Maybe because it's fucking propaganda. We're coming up on an hour now. I talked about the Vegas shooting, and I gave a little personal anecdote. Anything else anybody wants to know? Shay Watson, you got any questions before I wrap it up? Yeah, Robbie Parker. Thank you, Shay Watson. Parker. Robbie Parker. I like to call him Chuckles. He's the guy, he's the father of a little girl who was, killed in Sandy Hook, who's caught laughing until they say action. And then all of a sudden he gets fucking teary-eyed and starts reading his script on camera. Like a behind the scenes. You ever see a behind the scenes of a Hollywood movie and everyone's joking and shit until the director says action. And then all of a sudden the face goes straight and yeah. Wow, look it up. Robbie Parker, Sandy Hook. You'll see it. Tell me if that's the behavior of a guy who just lost his child. Now, there's other things about Sandy Hook that are just as fishy as Robbie Parker. A million things wrong with Sandy Hook. That's why they had to sue Alex Jones for $2 billion over it. $2 billion. You got to ask yourself, $2 billion? Not million. Not 20 million, not even 200 million, $2 fucking billion. They're suing Sandy Hook, or they're suing Alex Jones because he talked about Sandy Hook. You know what that tells me? The government really, really doesn't want you to talk about Sandy Hook. So I thought I'd get on the internet and blast my thoughts around the world about it. Because we do still have a thing in this country called free speech. For now. They're working on getting rid of it. But for now, if I got that right to free speech, I'm going to exercise it. I don't get any other exercise. I might as well exercise my rights. So let me just say this real quick here for the algorithm. Sandy Hook is fake. It's a hoax. Las Vegas, the Las Vegas shooting, Mandalay Bay, fake, hoax. PSYOP. Now, why would they do this, Joe? Why would they fake shootings? And I'm saying Sandy Hook was the first one. Vegas was the biggest one, but they are far from the only ones. They do these little shows all over the country, only you don't hear about every single one. When they read off the stats like, America had 73 people die in mass shootings last year. Well, let's take a look at every fucking one of those shootings, and every one of them is fishier than fuck. Maybe not every one of them, but 90% of them are. Why do they do this? Why does the government put forth the effort and the money and take the risk of putting on these little shows around the country? Anybody got a guess? Shay Watson, you got a guess? That's right, Shay. They want to take our guns. They want your guns. They want to disarm the public. Now, here's how you know what I'm telling you is true, okay? If you're wondering if I'm full of shit, I could be, maybe, I don't know. But think about this for a second. The people who are for gun control, the people who are against guns, because people don't need guns. We're scared of the mass shootings. Okay, what they want to take, and don't take my word for it. Wait until they come and take them. What are they going to take? Are they going to take your pistols? Are they going to take your revolvers? Because those guns are what the vast majority of crimes are committed with. Suicides are committed with handguns, pistols. Liquor store holdups, most of them committed with handguns, revolvers, domestic violence. Most gun deaths, the vast majority of gun deaths come from handguns, pistols, or revolvers. So if you gave a shit about gun violence in America, you would come after the pistols. That would only make sense. The only people with rifles are hunters, home defense kind of people, maybe some gun nuts and shit, but you're not seeing a lot of, you don't see people getting mugged with rifles, okay? Most gun violence is committed with handguns. However, no army has been able to withstand another army with pistols. You've never seen anyone go into war with pistols. You go into war with you go into war with rifles. Okay. That's why they want to ban your rifles. Now, they have no case against rifles. They could have a case if they wanted to say, we're worried about suicides, we're worried about domestic violence, we're worried about muggings and holdups and stick-ups because people are committing those with handguns. If they gave a shit, they'd come after the handguns. But nobody's worried about rifles. So they had to drum up the idea of a mass shooting and plant that seed in the American mind that rifles equals mass shooting. AR-15 is a weapon of mass destruction because that's what they want to come take. They want to come take your rifles. When they come take them, they're going to say, oh, we're not going to take all your guns. We're just going to take your rifles. You can keep your pistol for home defense if that's what you're worried about. And people will say, oh, okay. Yeah, come take, you can have the rifle. I'll keep my pistol for home defense. Dumbass. You can't stand up against another army with pistols. And so that's how they're going to disarm the population. That's what all these mass shootings are about. Not all of them, I should say. That's what Vegas was about. Vegas was about scaring the public into turning over their rifles. And I've spoken to people who have that mindset. I know a lady who's scared of rifles, who's scared to be shot with a rifle by a mass shooter. And she will vote to get rid of rifles, unknowingly voting to get rid of the very thing, the very last thing that is keeping us some semblance of freedom in this country. Because believe me, as soon as they get the guns, as soon as the population is disarmed enough, we don't have to be completely disarmed. We just have to be disarmed enough. And it'll turn into Nazi fucking Germany. And if you doubt it, look back to 2020 during COVID. Shit got real crazy during COVID. We have guns, so they couldn't get too crazy with us. We wouldn't stand for it. But if you go to Europe or Australia and see what they were doing to their people because they're not allowed to have guns, you shit your pants. So scary. Okay, but anyway, I've gone well over an hour now. Talked a little Vegas, talked a little personal stuff, and wrapped it all up in a big Smith Month Modernization Act bow. Don't let them propagandize you, folks. Okay? All these mass shootings, it's not as bad as you think. It's not as bad as you think. It drives me up the fucking wall when I hear somebody make fun of America because we have mass shootings. God, that fucking pisses me off. Shay says they want her mind. She doesn't have guns. She's got 244 thoughts. I got a pair of 357 thoughts, Shay. We ought to get together and shoot the shit. What do you think? All right, I guess that's about it. Shay, I don't have any music queued up. Otherwise, I'd play It's Time for Me to Fly right now. Well, maybe I can play that, because, that's my theme song, my outro song, Time for Me to Fly. It wouldn't feel right if I didn't play it, huh? That's right. What's going on? What's new with you, Shay? Hey, Shay, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for being a part. Thanks for being subscribed and having your little notification thing turned on, too, I guess, huh? Been a while since I went live, huh, Shay? Been a while. Well, here I am again. Here I go again on my own. Right? Right. Let me see here. Okay. Anything going on new with you, Shay? Talk to me. Tell me. What's happening? How you feeling? How you looking? Shay, for anyone who doesn't know, has a lovely, beautiful singing voice and two big, beautiful blue eyes, by the way. Just so you know, I'm just saying. Just saying. Well, if there's nothing else, Shay, I guess I should wrap it up, call it a night, and hit the rack myself. It's midnight here in Vegas. And what's today? Today is now June 10th. June 10th, midnight local time, Las Vegas, Nevada. Home of the biggest mass shooting in the world. All right. Well, I know it hurts, Shay. I know it hurts, but it's about that time. It's time for me to say goodbye. Can you hear it? Or can you hear it?
Following on. Welcome to Los Angeles. Airing.
Can you hear it?
Connected.
I just can't
There you go.
get any relief. I've swallowed my pride for you, lived and lied for you, but you still make me feel like a thief. You got me feeling you love that way, 'cause you never give it. Feeling me years away, and we can't relive it.
Well, I make you laugh, and you make me cry.
I believe it's time for me to fly. But you suddenly work it out. You suddenly got your head no doubt that deep down you believe in love. You believe that I have thought. You don't let the past wait on I want shot. It's time for me to fly. Time for me to fly. I got to set myself free. Just how it's up to me. The way it hurts to say goodbye. Time for me to
Shay, that Garth Brooks thing might have been started by Tom Segura as a goof, as a joke. Or maybe not. Maybe Garth Brooks really is a serial killer. I don't know. But that was a goof that Tom Segura started on his podcast. All right. I guess that's all. So time for me to fly. Viva Las Vegas. God bless America. I love all you guys. I got all your backs. Nice, Shay. Mwah. All right. How do I end? There we go. All right. That's it.